Welcome back, guys. This is episode 10, season 3 of Walking Dead, and episode 10 is called Home. I know this review is going up late, but I figured I'll just do it anyway because I want to have a complete series run through. I just didn't have time to upload it on Sunday night or Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, so it's going up on Friday night, only a couple days before episode 11 comes out. And I know it's going to suffer in views, but I have some subscribers now that are looking forward to my content. And I'm looking forward to seeing what I'm going to come up with too in my episodes. And so we put together a couple thoughts here, and we'll see if we can spit through them. First off, let's get to the start. It's been a while since I've seen the episode, so pardon me if I'm a little rusty, but this was probably the most beautiful opening sequence of all the... I think it was. It really was. It really touched me. The whole Rick hallucination chasing Lori scene for the intro before the credits. Oh, this thing again! It keeps doing me this. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Hopefully, I cut that out. Last time, I don't think I cut it out though. It's a big fail because I'm a bozo. And so yeah, the whole scene with Rick and Lori, just a real touching episode. With I just love the pacing of it. It slowed down. The music was soft, and they showed the beautiful. The shots of the prison, outside the prison, in the inner courts and stuff. And just the timing, the way they presented Lori, they didn't reveal her all at once, and they kept you looking for more the way Rick wanted to look for more. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I was very much drawn into it. It was sad, it was scary, it was tense, but it was beautiful, and I loved it. And so let's get on to the next part. Here we have Andrea. I actually, since this episode's going up so late, if you watched my earlier season 3 episodes, you'll know that AMC releases more pictures a couple days after their episode launches. So now we have 10 in-episode pictures, and this is the second. No, this is the first one. That first one was unofficial. Excuse me. Too much Coca-Cola. Excuse me. So Andrea and the governor have a very interesting conversation. At first, I was convinced that the governor. This is the speech I'm talking about, where the governor comes in and tells Andrew that he basically kind of wants to step down, and she's a better leader than him. And I was like, really, man, this guy's so confusing. I don't understand. And then I was like, but by the end of it, I was like, no way. If you watched my Walking Dead symptoms video, I talk about the governor's possible symptoms, and along with the rest of the people who were infected and have killed somebody. So I think he wants to go on a kill run, and this is just a cover story, and that turns out to be true in the end, as you know, which we'll get to at the end of the episode. Let's talk about, here's another slide, I guess. Yeah, so he's confused that he's stepping down, and Andrea is very much confused, not only with her roles in Woodbury, but also with her relationship with her past people, and she's got half her foot in the governor's world and half her foot in Woodbury, and like the last third of her is still with her friends back beyond. Now this picture here probably doesn't really sum up the scene, because the scene was not really about Michonne and Glenn. It looks like they're mad, but they weren't. This is the scene where they were discussing what to do with apparently the wall had broken down because Tyrese's group came in through there, and their impenetrable fortress was no longer impenetrable, and so they were discussing what to do. And essentially, I forgot exactly what Michonne says here, but they had some talks, and I think the biggest thing to bring out of this conversation was 4 things: Glenn stepping up, Herschel stepping up, Carl stepping up, and Rick not in the picture as far as Plan A is concerned. Those are the 4 things you should draw from that. It was really pathetic to see Rick not involved. I think at this point he was, I guess he was off in the field. I think he just walked off across that bridge with his imaginary wife. So I was pretty sad to see that. Moving right along. We got, so here's the 3 contenders to potentially, I say potentially, replace Rick. I don't think it'll actually happen, especially not Carl, but I think Carl has the capabilities to do it. But I don't think any of these 3 guys, with the exception of maybe Glenn, can handle this task. But I don't think that Glenn is is ready to take on the governor one-on-one. I think the Glenn might have a good chance, or Maggie have a good chance of killing the governor in the end, but as far as Carl and Herschel are concerned, they're just. I mean, Herschel's providing great advice right now, and judging by the preview for next episode, Carl actually says to his father, "You shouldn't lead anymore," which is obviously, I think it's supposed to tease us and maybe twist us a little bit, but nevertheless, he's still at it. It's still very interesting. Moving on to Milton, probably one of the lesser characters in the show, but I really enjoy seeing his character. I think I would like to see him get more screen time. He has a lot of interesting motivations and ideas, kind of, and I wish that we could devote more time to him to get to see, what he really thinks, absent the governor, absent Merle, absent Andrea. How does he interact with the Woodbury people? What is his research really aiming at doing? And we'll never really understand the governor, I don't think. I think he'll always be enigma, and it's gonna be interesting to see how he advances, because in this episode too, you just kind of see this man is you could say he's a loose cannon, the governor, but he's also very much under control in some ways. It's like a total dichotomy, and you're just like, wow, this is odd. It's an odd situation. So bam, we got big news. Karen, possible Lily candidate, as we've been following all season long, looking for a Lily, sorry. And the more I think about it, the more I think maybe there won't be a Lily, but I've heard some comments saying that there should be a Lily, possibly later in the season, so we'll keep our eyes open. But here's Karen. She looks like Lily, in my opinion. There's the picture on the left. I think that's from the Wicca. And here's the picture on the right from the scene, this episode, where Karen was loyal to Woodbury and the governor and not to Andrea, which was really interesting because Andrea came up to her and was like, "Where's the governor gone to? Do you know where he is?" And she denied, like, she wasn't going to say nothing. And I was pretty pumped about that. Like, you look at this picture and she looks pretty BA. She looks like she could shoot a couple fools with a gun, and maybe stab someone if needs be or whatever. I think she's got some potential here after that episode. I was pretty excited to see her. Okay, on to Maggie trouble now. Maggie gets pulled aside by Glenn, and we really get to see Maggie's having some really big issues now. Like, in case there was any doubt before, this girl is a wreck. Now, she wasn't actually raped, as she said multiple times, but she was sexually abused, and I don't know, I'm not really familiar with sexual abuse in my personal life, so I don't really have much to compare her to, but obviously the directors thought that this was a somewhat appropriate response for her character, so I think that it's probably not too unreasonable to say that this happens to people in real life who undergo this procedure. And I think in real life, anyway, it'd be interesting to see if this happens in the show, is people who are sexually abused, especially like high school females by like older like their coaches or something. They'll often wear like sweaters and stuff, but that's a totally different tangent. But if Maggie starts wearing sweaters, then we know we've got ourselves a sexual abuse victim. Moving on. Yeah, poor Glenn. I was going to say, poor Glenn. The man tried, and Maggie she just needs some time. But she gets some help at the end of the episode, near the end of the episode, from a friend, so we'll see what happens. And let's move on to my boys, Merle and Daryl. They are totally different people now, as you can see through this whole kind of episode. Daryl has different opinions on how to resolve situations, and I think they got a really cool shot in there where Merle said they were going the wrong way, and Daryl said, "No, we're going to such and such a river," and he turned out to be right. They showed us the sign of the river. So here goes Daryl, and he's going to go save the people on the bridge. That was a really cool scene, and I found it interesting that they were like a speck in time. For both parties, the car on the bridge was a speck in time for Merle and the audience, and the savior Daryl here was a speck in time for the Spanish or Mexican uh, family or group of friends up there with a baby. So that was interesting. That was very interesting. I really liked that scene, and you really got to see Merle asserting himself above, in contrast to Daryl, to Merle, sorry, and how Merle thinks that he's got his, he's playing like a puppet. Not that he's trying to play him, but that he owns his brother. And now we're seeing Daryl trying to fight that back. Sorry for taking so long, guys. I'm trying to go through this quickly, but there's a lot. I mean, I could talk about this. We could talk about this all day long. And I'm sure if you got on the mic and started talking about The Walking Dead or any TV show that has some interesting plot elements in it, you could talk about it a long time too. So let's move along. We got that talked about. I hate Merle. I wrote that down. And one big question, actually, this is probably the question of the week for the comment section, is what is with Daryl's tattoo story? This happened a little bit before this picture. I don't know if I have another. Okay, I do have another picture in here. I don't want to. What's with Daryl's tattoo picture? He gets it ripped off. Maybe if we go backwards here, we can't see it, but he gets his shirt ripped off, kind of, and it looks like he's got some kind of a tattoo. It looks like some kind of a club or something, and like a gang kind of like claimed him or something. I don't know. Point in the comments what do you think about that. That's interesting. And so I think we're on to the next thing. There's Merle being a jerk right now, and he realizes, dang, this Daryl guy, he does what he wants now, and it's not good. Now Beth makes another great move. She doesn't make a move on Rick this episode that I noticed, but she makes a really good She makes a really cool move on Maggie here. And I don't know if it was intentional, but it looked intentional by not really by her mannerisms, but by the result. And what she did was she gave the baby to Maggie, who was Maggie just so desperately needed this cute little, couple-week-old, it looks like a year-old baby to hold, and it just like melted her heart. It was so cuddly and innocent and happy and lovable, and it was just the perfect thing. It was like Beth, you're brilliant. Like, why didn't we just give her this all the time? Whoever's sad, just give her the baby. And so more good stuff from Beth this episode. So that was exciting to see. I'm glad I picked up on that. So, and we get the whole reveal with Rick finally telling Herschel that he is crazy, and that was interesting. I'm not sure if Herschel didn't entirely not know. It seems like he had a lot of the pieces of the puzzle together at that point anyway, and Rick came out and told him what was up, and he's like, dude, you're crazy. And this obviously, as you know, happened right next to the fence, which leads to a bigger situation. Let's just see if I have anything else to say. So this is the last slide before we get into the really fun stuff. And I think that's about all I gotta say about that. Obviously, references the phone call and stuff. Let's move on. Axel gets shot. Now, right before Axel got shot, this was actually the second scene where we saw Axel this episode. And the first time we saw him, he was talking with Carol, and he was hitting on her. And I was like, dang, Carol forgot about Daryl already. I mean, I know he might never come back, but she's just moved right along to Axel already. So, or it looks like there was a possibility of that, and then he got bam right in the face. I was quite shocked by that. I don't know. I don't think anyone who was watching wasn't surprised by that unless they were spoiled. One thing I will say that's kind of disappointing about this is that it was Axel that died. It doesn't really make sense. And I could talk about it a while for this, because now it's like that entire group that they met in the prison is now dead, which I suppose is kind of highly probable. But if you're the governor and you're sitting there with the gun on the edge of the fort, why would you shoot Axel? Why wouldn't you shoot anyone else? A girl, Carol, who was out there. I forget who all was out there standing by, but Rick was just off in the woods to the side. If you've really taken your time, you could have sniped him. And then they proceeded to miss every single shot from then on out. I don't know where they put the sniper rifle, but they decided not to do that. So he got shot in the face, the poor man, and then Carol hid behind him. The governor goes nuts with his trucks. And we have a massive shootout. Nobody gets hit. And one really kind of cool scene was this whole siege tactics thing, which I don't know if I have a picture for. I don't have a picture for it. Where they brought in the truck through the gate, and then they let out a bunch of walkers inside. And an interesting thing to note was when I was first watching this, I was like, it kind of looked to me like they were setting up like Rick, because as you all know, Merle and Daryl came and saved Rick, and it looked like they were trapped on one side, walkers in the middle, other side, the rest of the prison. So it looked like, you got this outer ring surrounded by walkers. They weren't going to be able to get through back in there. But then it was like, that's stupid. And, I don't think that was the effect they were going for. So if you got that feeling, then just ignore it. I think the effect was more not the shock of being trapped, but the shock of what the governor had done, that he would be so brazen to attack full on like this. I think that was the look of shock and disbelief on the faces of the prison group. I think there's Rick hiding in the woods. Michonne goes nuts with her sword and starts cleaning up, does some pretty nice stuff, shows her value again to the group. And, we save the day. Merle and the boys show up. This definitely means Daryl's back in the group, as if there's any doubt about that. And Merle, after their short apps, I still think Merle's going to be in the group, but I don't know. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because there is, not only is Merle not wanted, but there is no leadership in the prison group for Rick to say definitively yes or definitively no. So there's going to be a division among the group as to whether or not to have him or not have him, or whether or not they need him, because they do need him against the governor, because he has wisdom. Now, one last thing I think we have to talk about here is the no sign of Teresa's group during this episode. We got Tyrese, Sasha, Ben, and Alan are still all alive, as we are unconfirmed at this point, and it'll be interesting to see. I have no idea what time of video we're at right now, by the way, guys. You just watch the little red bar. We're probably almost done. And so we'll see what happens. I have an idea of what's going to happen. It was a comment, and I think this person's comment about concerning this group in the future could ring true. It could ring true. I think it's probably the most likely, actually, but I don't want to spoil it for anyone who doesn't want possibly to be spoiled. So about the future, not that I don't even think it's according to the comics or anything, but you just never know. Just keep on your toes and keep watching. So things to watch out for. We got the whole Beth storyline, the governor, the power struggle in the camp, Merle's story. Lots of stuff going on here. Maggie's recovery, which could take a long time, and just all these different things going on. Okay, that's it, guys. I think that's it. Yes, thanks for watching. Comment below with your thoughts. I have no idea how long this is. I hope that the audio sounds good and the video looks good, because it was a little subpar last time, but I wanted to get this video out there so we could engage in the conversation. I really appreciated the feedback from episode 9, and it was really cool getting messages all week about YouTube comments being posted, and they'd be like, "Oh, what's this one?" And I go find out what it was and respond to it, and it was cool. It's great. It's great stuff. So I know there won't be very much response to this one, but looking forward to episode 11, which will be I Ain't a Judas. Thanks, guys, for watching, and have a good one.